Say hello. Say hello. He says hello. In his own little way, anyway. And I am here to tell you all about a new diagnosis that I have had that is very bizarre, very weird, and I'm not too sure how to take it. These videos are going to be a mixture of me doing kind of video diaries and me doing talks that are more sciencey, that are based on DID, to kind of tell people what it is, what it isn't. Is it real? It is real, by the way. I didn't believe it either. I thought it was just like like I was over imagining something. Like I was just not making it up, because it wasn't, but that these extensions of me, these personalities that I now know they are, just seem like different modes. And I will go off into work mode, or I'll go off into Danni mode, or like an absent mode, or passive aggressive bitch mode. And a lot of these were noticed by an ex-boyfriend of mine, that, you know, it would be like. So I have just been interrupted by a husky. Diff. He wanted to know what noise was. Tifa. Diff. Hi. Say hello to the internet. Tifa says hello interwebs. You can look at the camera. It says hi. Yeah, so it's a weird one. It does exist. I had to go to a specialist because I was told that it wasn't anything more sinister. They were very dismissive of dissociative disorders, which a lot of the mental health team are. I have been told that there is no treatment for me. There's no help, because your class is too complex when you have one of these disorders, which is really nice to know. So I am currently applying for funding from my local council to see if I can then get treatment available from the specialist trauma and dissociation centre, which is awesome. Dr. Mike Lojo was brilliant, and it's one of those things where you have to go to a specialist to get diagnosed officially for this, and they run you through what's called the SCD, I think it is, and that will diagnose all dissociative disorders. Now, I knew that I dissociated. I dissociate a lot. I can block things out. I am not emotionally attached to anything that happens to me. I'm a really difficult person to offend because I don't take anything on a personal level. So it's quite funny, because people will kind of try and emotionally blackmail me and things, and I'll be like, that's not logical. There's parts of me that you can do that with, but it doesn't last very long, because the other parts will take over and go, no, we're stopping this bullshit now. So I have very strong, independent people inside me that will only tolerate people's bullshit for so long. So if I don't catch you out on it, one of them will, and they will kind of come to the front and put you in your place. So yeah, that can be very challenging for people, because I can be really, really passive sometimes and very kind of nonchalant with things. Other times I'm like water off a duck's back, nothing bothers me, I'm absolutely fine. And then you get the point where I'm like, actually no, you're disrespecting me now and you need to pack it in, because I'm not tolerating that shit. And I'm quite happy to up and leave, you know, the situation that's causing that. So with the DID, it's fascinating, absolutely fascinating, to have all these different personalities. And one of the personalities drew a picture, which I'm going to put up. And in this picture, you basically see like a star, and you've got all of us, and each of the names are opposites. So Anita is the opposite of Hope. Luna is the opposite to Scarlet. Who else is on there? Danielle is the opposite to Faith. Sonia is the opposite to Skittle. And I am in the middle as Danni, so they're all extensions of me. And the way the DID is formed is that it puts blocks in you as a child. So as a child, you don't really have a sound personality, there's no sound sense of self. You have a lot. 1 second. I'd rather us not do that. So as a child, you have no firm sense of self. You have different personalities, so to speak, as children start to find themselves, which then become kind of ingrained from about 8 years of age, depending on which studies you look at. It's, you know, structural something. I'm losing my science brain at the minute. Okay, so it's structural dissociation theory, And I'm back again now. I was going a bit there. And this is more like, as a child, you have different personality states. And if there's trauma occurred during that time, and when we say trauma, it's whatever's traumatic to a child below the age of 9. It has to be something repetitive. So it could be emotional, it could be physical, it could be sexual, it could be anything that child finds traumatic, and it is repeated. So this could be family member, it could be a sibling, it could be school, natural disasters, war zones. There's lots of reasons why a child might feel traumatized and scared. So your mind kind of blocks you off, which is really fascinating. So in those times, you will dissociate to escape the scary place. And you have a really good imagination as a child, so you will create these people that will protect you. So many people will have alters that are different genders, different ages. Some are humans, some are not humans, some are vampires, angels, demons, wolves, tigers, cats, dogs. Anything that is seen as a protector from a child's point of view can be an alter. And that's basically what happens is, generally when you grow up, if you're neurotypical, is all these parts of yourself will kind of merge together and create the self as a whole. What happens in people like me is that it separates. So as you saw around the diagram, is you have me in the middle and you have all these little extensions of the different modes, and they're just different parts of me that have just evolved over time to create those modes or alters or parts or whatever it is that you want to refer them as. And they are people in their own right. They have their own memories, so I don't have access to a lot of memories. I see myself as quite a forgetful person. If I'm in my workspace, I remember everything to do with my work. So I'll remember clients, I'll remember details, I'll remember the dogs, I'll remember everything to do with that. If I'm not in work mode, I struggle to remember that, to the point where I have had people ask me questions when I've been at conferences when I wasn't there as a speaker, as a professional, whereas they were my own dogs. And I've been like, I don't know. Yeah, mine's gone blank. Sorry, don't know. And I've been looked at people like, why wouldn't you know this? You would know this. I'm like, no, the science me would know this. Me not. No, I'm not. I don't know as much as I do when I'm in work mode, which is really fascinating. So when the innate awareness kind of occurred to me, and it was pointed out that I do these things, and it was pointed out by an ex of mine, it was pointed out by friends, and it was pointed out by a counsellor that I dissociate a lot. So I started to look into it and go, oh my god, I do. And I'm 33. Okay, you know, I'm kind of like, someone should have noticed this by now. Surely, if this was a thing, it should have been known. Someone should have seen it. No, they didn't. It's so covert that you don't notice. You won't notice the switches. Unless you know what you're looking for, you're not going to see it. And because I have different groups of friends, they always saw the same version of me. And they're not that different. They're all different versions of me. It's just there are parts of me, apparently, that are younger than me. That is a dog snoring. I apologise. There are parts that are younger than me. There are some parts that are the same age. There's some that's a bit older. The ones that are younger than me are kind of, they're trapped in that stage. Some of us have been through trauma, others haven't. And it fascinates me. It really does. And the more I've been aware, the more I'm like, oh my god. And it freaks me out. Like, seriously, freaks me out. And I got to a place where I was like, okay, I'm potentially going to be diagnosed with a disorder that they make horror movies out of. Horror movies. Like, I'm going to have someone inside me that can just take over my body and go around and kill people. Because my only point of reference for this disorder at the time was horror movies. You know, it's what you'd heard of, things like Sybil and Split and stuff was like the only point of reference for this. And at the time, I was in a really dark place because I had relived some trauma. I'd gone through quite a horrific experience with a friend of mine where they attacked me, and that brought back a load of other memories, and I had like so many flashbacks and repressed memories come through, and I was like, oh my god, it was too much. And then to know that I was also going through this diagnosis at the time, I couldn't cope, and I was finding myself in different rooms of my house. I would find myself in a different room, come back into my room, and enough. Shush. I would find like tablets and medication and things put out as though I was about to take an overdose, or I would suddenly find myself in the kitchen with a knife, and really scary things like that. And now I know there is a very depressed part of me, extremely depressed, that is basically in like a major depressive suicidal crisis. A major depressive suicidal crisis, for those that didn't get that because of the knuckle shake. And that's really difficult to take in, because if I switch into that mode, I have no aware of what I do when I'm there. I have no memory of it. I just come to and find I'm in a different place. And it's so rare that happens. I remember things like that happening a lot when I was a teenager, but it's all stuff that you kind of pass off, you know? If I'm talking to people and I suddenly kind of zone out the conversation and come back in, you just see it as just zoning out. You just put it down to tiredness or stress. It's none of them. It's an actual disorder. I hate the word disorder with a passion. I don't feel like I have a disorder. I experience dissociative episodes. They are dissociative inconveniences is what they are. Nuffle, please don't move the stand. Thank you. Move that back. They are dissociative inconveniences. That is what they are. Inconveniences. I have dissociative inconvenience disorder. Because it does inconvenience me. I can learn to control it, which is going to be useful. I can learn to control it, which is going to be really useful. So I know that when I can switch in and switch out, apparently we have to create an inner world. So a lot of people that have DID talk about their inner world, where they're able to communicate with their other parts and actually talk and have full-on conversations. I'm like, what? I don't understand. I'm gonna do what? I'm gonna have like a house in my head that everyone talks and communicates in? What is that? No idea. I don't have that. It's dark inside my head. Yeah, so there's nothing there. When I communicate, it's kind of like, you know when you can almost tell what your best friend is thinking? And you like just know. It's that sort of feeling for me. Sometimes I will hear lots of thoughts at the same time. Apparently people don't do that. I have like an inner polylogue rather than a monologue. So when you're thinking about your day, I have multiple thoughts on different topics happening at the same time, and that was normal. That's normal to me. I thought everyone did that, you know, with like the angel and devil on your shoulder. Everyone does that. Apparently they don't, which is why I can see multiple points of view at the same time, because I have multiple perspectives on the same thing all the time, which is brilliant for my job. It's a superpower. It means that as far as critical reviewing goes, I am amazing at it, because I will be able to see different perspectives to help my clients and make me an effective counsellor for them. I can see multiple perspectives at the same time, and this is all down to DID, is that I'm able to do that. I don't have to think about it, I don't have to question it. I can just be told a situation and instantly I will have, you know, 5 responses, and then whichever one's strongest will come forward first, depending on which mode I'm in. If the response is strong enough or needed, I can switch. But I'm going to look forward to exploring this journey with you, and this is just a little bit of an intro, and we'll do some proper videos shortly, along with the diaries that I'm going to keep doing, that are going to be set up kind of like me in a room just talking to myself. Well, talking to you guys. So it's nice to see you all, and hopefully you will enjoy joining me on this journey. Bye! Mwah.